Hey, I'm Hybrid Joe, and I've transformed my physique from this to this in only 1 year of training. And in this video, I'll tell you a training method that will make your workouts way shorter and way more fun. And that training method is high intensity, low volume training. In high intensity, low volume training, you do a low amount of sets, but you do each set with a very high intensity. And what I mean by a very high intensity is basically taking each set to absolute failure. 0 reps in reserve. For example, you can do 1 to 2 sets for each exercise, but you take each of these sets to absolute failure. And although people say that failure training might be bad for you, in this specific training method, failure training might actually be beneficial. People say that failure training is too fatiguing and it gives the same muscle gain as keeping 1 or 2 reps in reserve. And my argument to that is by doing only 1 to 2 sets of failure training, it might even be less fatiguing than doing 4 to 5 sets with 1 or 2 reps in reserve. And while yes, some studies have shown that keeping 1 to 2 reps in reserve gets the same muscle hypertrophy as training to failure, there's also another study that showed that the closer you get to failure, the more muscle gain you get. And plus, if you're not training to failure, how are you gonna know if you have 1 or 2 reps in reserve? You'll never know when true failure is until you actually reach it. So it's very hard to calculate when you have 1 or 2 reps in reserve. And sometimes your mind is inaccurate. You actually have more reps in the reserve than you think. So high intensity, low volume training gives you the freedom to train with as high intensity as you want without getting the downsides of training to high intensity. And there's a lot of benefits to this because high intensity, low volume training is very time efficient, and doing 2 sets to failure can actually be just as rewarding as doing 3 to 4 sets. So the argument for it is basically it's more time efficient and you get the same benefits. And it's less fatiguing. Other than the fact that training to failure each set gives you a huge ego boost, and it's actually way more fun than just keeping some reps in reserve. You'll actively feel that burn in the last rep, and it might even increase your mind-muscle connection. So basically I do 2 sets of every exercise with a failure rep range of 5 to 12 reps. And when I fail after 12 reps, I'll increase the weight. For example, if I fail at 15 reps for a certain amount of weight, next time I train, I'll increase the weight and do a lower amount of reps. And over time, the reps will increase until it reaches 12 or more. And when it reaches more than 12, I'll increase the weight again. That's basically how you progressive overload in this training method. Since you're taking each set to absolute failure, I'd recommend you rest anywhere from between 2 to 5 minutes. And while people might tell you that high rest times are bad, it actually isn't. Resting a lot between sets actually helps you maximize performance on your next set. So when you do the second set, you aren't fatigued from the first. Of course, you'll still be fatigued a little bit, but it minimizes the fatigue. So what this training method is basically all about, it's low sets taken to absolute failure with high rest amounts. And having a low amount of sets actually helps you take each set to absolute failure. Because of course, if you're doing 4 to 5 sets each exercise and doing 50 sets per workout, it's very hard to take 50 sets to absolute failure. If you're only doing 2 sets per exercise, it's way easier. And trust me, it's way more fun than doing 4 to 5 sets for each exercise. It's less fatiguing and time consuming, and you'll be less tired in the workout. And it also gives a slight ego boost, which is always nice. So I'd recommend giving this a try for at least 2 weeks and see if your body responds well to it. See if you make more gains using this training method or not. Because your body can respond well to either low volume or high volume. So see what works for you. I hope this video helps. Good luck on your journey.